Clothed with the Sun, by Anna Kingsford. Chapter 1. Revelations of Spirit and Soul. Number 1. Concerning the three veils between man and God. London, March 1881. A golden chalice, bearing resemblance to those utilized in Catholic rites yet distinguished by three interior linings, was conferred upon me during my slumber by an angel. He proclaimed that these linings symbolized the 3 degrees of heaven: the purity of life, the purity of heart, and the purity of doctrine. Immediately subsequently, a vast temple possessing a dome, constructed in the architectural manner of the Moslems, materialized before my vision, and upon its threshold stood a lofty angel attired in white linen, who, with an imperious presence, directed a company of men occupied in discarding into the thoroughfare crucifixes, Bibles, prayer books, altar vessels, and sundry other sacred emblems. As I gazed, disturbed by that which appeared to constitute profanation, a voice resounded from a great altitude in the heavens with startling lucidity. "All idols shall he utterly destroy." Then the same voice, ascending yet higher, summoned me. "Come forth and see." Instantaneously, it appeared that I was hoisted by my hair and borne aloft above the terrestrial sphere. Suddenly, there manifested within the ether the vision of a man of majestic deportment, arrayed in ancient vestments and encircled by a multitude of prostrate worshippers. Initially, the aspect of this figure was unfamiliar to me, but as I fixed my ocular attention upon it, the countenance and garments underwent transformation, and I surmised that I beheld Buddha, the Messiah of India. Yet scarcely had I convinced myself of this when a mighty cry, akin to 1,000 voices united, thundered to the adorers, "Stand upright. Worship God alone." Again the figure altered, as though obscured by a transient cloud, and now it assumed the likeness of Jesus. Once more I observed the kneeling throng, and once more the thunderous voice vociferated, "Rise, worship God alone." The voice rolled like thunder, and I perceived that it resounded 7 times, each echo rising as though ascending from sphere to sphere. Then abruptly I fell through the air, as though the sustaining hand had been retracted, and descending once more upon the earth, I stood within the temple I had first observed in my vision. At its eastern extremity stood a great altar, from behind and above which emanated a faint white radiance, its brilliance dimmed and concealed by a dark veil suspended from the dome before the altar. The nave of the temple, which absent the veil would have been replete with light, lay in gloom, interrupted only by the tenuous shimmer of a few dying oil lamps hanging from the vast cupola. To the right of the altar stood the lofty angel I had perceived at the entrance, holding in his hand a smoking censer. Observing that he regarded me with scrutiny, I addressed him. "Tell me, what veil is this before the light, and why is the temple in darkness?" And he replied, "This veil is not singular but threefold, and the 3 are blood, idolatry, and the curse of Eve. To you it is granted to remove them. Be steadfast and intrepid, for the time is at hand." The first veil was crimson and of immense mass, and with arduous exertion I drew it aside, declaring, "I have removed the veil of blood from before thy countenance. Shine, O Lord God." But a voice from behind the remaining veils responded, "I cannot shine because of the idols." Then I beheld before me a curtain of multifold hues, embellished with every manner of image, crucifixes, Madonnas, testaments old and new, prayer books, and other religious emblems, some grotesque and monstrous like the idols of China and Japan, some fair like those of the Greeks and Christians. The weight of this veil was akin to lead, for it was laden with gold and silver embroidery. But with both hands I rent it away, crying, I have taken away the idols from before thy countenance. Shine, O Lord God. Now the light shone with greater clarity and brilliance, yet still a third veil remained, sable in color, upon which was traced the outline of 4 lilies on a single inverted stem, their cups turned downward. And from behind this veil the voice answered once more, I cannot shine because of the curse of Eve. Then I summoned all my strength and with profound resolution tore away the curtain, exclaiming, I have taken away her curse from before thee. Shine, O Lord God. No longer did a veil exist, but rather a vision of a landscape transcending all description, a garden of perfect beauty replete with palms, olives, and figs, flowing rivers of crystalline water, lawns of tender verdure, and distant groves and forests encircled by mountains crowned with snow, upon whose radiant peaks rose the sun whose light I had perceived behind the veils. About the sun in the firmament floated white nebulous forms of great angels, appearing as morning clouds above the place of dawn. Beneath, under a vast cedar tree, stood a white elephant bearing in a golden seat a woman of surpassing beauty, robed as a queen and crowned with a diadem. While I beheld with rapture, desiring never to cease beholding, the garden, the altar, and the temple were assumed into heaven. As I stood gazing upward, the voice returned, descending now from above toward the earth. Before me appeared the white pinnacle of a minaret, and all the heavens surrounding it glowed with gold and crimson from the rising sun. Then I perceived the voice to be that of a solitary muezzin upon the minaret, with uplifted hands crying, Put away blood from among you, cast down your idols, restore your queen. Straightway there came a voice akin to that of an innumerable multitude, sounding from above, from around, and from beneath my feet, like a wind rising from caverns deep under the mountains to their highest peaks among the stars. And it answered, Worship God alone. Number 2. Concerning inspiration and prophesying. Concerning inspiration and prophesying. I heard yestereve in my sleep a voice speaking to me, and saying, You inquire regarding the method and nature of inspiration, and the means whereby God revealeth the truth. Know that there is no enlightenment from without. The secret of things is revealed from within. From without cometh no divine revelation, but the Spirit within beareth witness. Do not imagine I tell you that which you know not, for except you know it, it cannot be given to you. To him that hath it is given, and he hath the more abundantly. None is a prophet save he who knoweth. The instructor of the people is a man of many lives. Inborn knowledge and the perception of things, these are the sources of revelation. The soul of the man instructeth him, having already learned by experience. Intuition is inborn experience, that which the soul knoweth of old and of former years. And illumination is the light of wisdom, whereby a man perceiveth heavenly secrets. Which light is the Spirit of God within the man, showing unto him the things of God. Do not think that I tell you anything you know not. All cometh from within. The Spirit that informeth is the Spirit of God in the prophet. What, then, you ask, is the medium, and how are to be regarded the utterances of one speaking in trance? God speaketh through no man in the manner you suppose, for the spirit of the prophet beholdeth God with open eyes. If he fall into a trance, his eyes are open, and his interior man knoweth what is spoken by him. But when a man speaketh that which he knoweth not, he is obsessed. An impure spirit, or one that is bound, hath entered into him. There are many such, but their words are as the words of men who know not. These are not prophets nor inspired. God obsesseth no man, God is revealed. And he to whom God is revealed speaketh that which he knoweth. Christ Jesus understandeth God. He knoweth that of which he beareth witness. But they who, being mediums, utter in trance things of which they have no knowledge, and of which their own spirit is uninformed, these are obsessed with a spirit of divination, a strange spirit not their own. Of such beware, for they speak many lies, and are deceivers, working often for gain or for pleasure's sake, and they are a grief and a snare to the faithful. Inspiration may indeed be mediumship, but it is conscious, and the knowledge of the prophet instructeth him. Albeit he speaks in a state of ecstasy, he articulates nothing that is unknown to him. Thou, who art a prophet, hast experienced a multitude of lives. Indeed, thou hast instructed diverse nations and hast stood in the presence of monarchs. Furthermore, God hath tutored thee throughout the years that have elapsed, and during the primordial eras of the earth. Through prayer, through fasting, through meditation, and through arduous questing, hast thou attained that which thou knowest. There exists no knowledge save by labor, nor any intuition save by experience. I have witnessed thee upon the hills of the east. I have traced thy footsteps within the wilderness. I have beheld thee in adoration at sunrise. I have observed thy nocturnal vigils within the caverns of the mountains. Thou hast attained with patience, O prophet. God hath disclosed the truth unto thee from within. A prophecy concerning the kingdom of the soul, mystically designated the day of the woman. And now I unveil unto you a mystery and a novelty, which constitutes part of the arcanum of the fourth day of creation. The word destined to salvage the world shall be uttered by a woman. A woman shall conceive, and shall bring forth the tidings of salvation. For the dominion of Adam approaches its final hour, and God shall consummate all things through the creation of Eve. Hitherto the man has existed in solitude and has held sovereignty over the earth. Yet, when the woman shall be created, God shall bequeath unto her the kingdom, and she shall be paramount in rule and supreme in dignity. Verily, the last shall be first, and the elder shall serve the younger. Thus women shall no longer lament their womanhood. Rather, men shall exclaim, "Oh, that we had been born women!" For the strong shall be deposed from their seat, and the meek shall be exalted to their place. The epoch of the covenant of manifestation is passing away. The gospel of interpretation approacheth. Nothing new shall be recounted, but that which is ancient shall be interpreted. Consequently, man the manifester shall resign his office, and woman the interpreter shall illuminate the world. Hers is the fourth office. She revealeth that which the Lord hath manifested. Hers is the light of the heavens, and the most brilliant of the planets of the Holy Seven. She constitutes the fourth dimension, the eyes which enlighten, and the power which draweth inward toward God. And her kingdom cometh, the day of the exaltation of woman. And her reign shall surpass the reign of the man, for Adam shall be deposed from his station, and she shall hold dominion forever. And she who is solitary shall bring forth more children unto God than she who possesseth a husband. There shall no longer be a reproach against women, Rather, against men shall be the reproach. For the woman is the crown of man and the ultimate manifestation of humanity. She is the nearest to the throne of God, when she shall be revealed. However, the creation of woman is not yet complete, but it shall be completed in the time which is at hand. All things are thine, O Mother of God. All things are thine, O thou who risest from the sea, and thou shalt possess dominion over all the worlds. Number 3. Concerning the prophecy of the Immaculate Conception. I stand upon the seashore. The moon overhead is at the full. A soft and warm breath, akin to that of the summer wind, blows upon my face. Its aroma is saline with the respiration of the sea. O sea, O moon, from you I shall gather that which I seek. You shall recount unto me the narrative of the Immaculate Conception of Maria, whose symbols ye are, an allegory of stupendous significance, one with which the Church of God has long been familiar, yet which never penetrated its understanding, like the holy fire which enveloped the sacred bush, but which, nevertheless, the bush withstood and resisted. Yet there has been one who comprehended and interpreted aright the parable of the Immaculate Conception, and he discovered it through us by the light of his own intense love. For he was the disciple of love, and his name remains the beloved John, the seer of the Apocalypse. For he, in the vision of the woman clothed with the sun, set forth the true significance of the Immaculate Conception. For the Immaculate Conception is none other than the prophecy of the means whereby the universe shall ultimately be redeemed. Maria, the sea of limitless space. Maria the Virgin, born herself immaculate and without spot from the womb of the ages, shall in the fullness of time bring forth the perfect man, who shall redeem the race. He is not a singular man, but 10,000 times 10,000, the Son of Man who shall overcome the limitations of matter and the evil which results from the materialization of spirit. His mother is spirit, his father is spirit, yet he himself is incarnate. How then shall he overcome evil and restore matter to the condition of spirit? By the force of love. It is love which constitutes the centripetal power of the universe. It is by love that all creation returns to the bosom of God. The force which projected all things is will, and will serves as the centrifugal power of the universe. Will alone could not surmount the evil resulting from the limitations of matter, but it shall be vanquished in the end by sympathy, which is the knowledge of God in others, the recognition of the omnipresent self. This is love, and it is against the children of the Spirit, the servants of love, that the dragon of matter wages war. Now, whether the world is sufficiently robust to endure this as yet, we know not. This is not the first occasion we have revealed these matters unto men. An ancient heresy, cursed by the Church, arose out of a true inspiration, for the disciples are ever weaker than the Master, and they lack his spiritual discernment. I speak of the Gnostics. To the master of the Gnostics we revealed the truth of the Immaculate Conception. We informed him that Emmanuel should be the God-man who, transcending the limitations of matter, should efface the evil of materialization by the force of love, and should see, hear, speak, and feel as though he were pure spirit, having annihilated the boundaries of matter. This, then, he taught, but they who heard his teaching, applying his words solely to the individual Jesus, affirmed that Jesus possessed no material body, but that he was an emanation of a spiritual nature, an aeon who, without substance or true being in the flesh, had borne a phantom role in the world of men. Beware lest in like manner ye are also misled. It is arduous for men to be spiritual. It is equally arduous for us to declare ourselves without mystery. The Church knows not the source of its dogmas. We marvel also at the blindness of the hearers, who indeed hear, but who possess not eyes to see. We speak in vain, ye discern not spiritual things. Ye are so materialized that ye perceive only the material. The Spirit comes and goes. Ye hear the sound of its voice, but ye cannot determine whither it goeth nor whence it cometh. All that is true is spiritual. No dogma of the Church is true that appears to bear a physical meaning. For matter shall cease, along with all that pertains to it, but the word of the Lord shall remain forever. And how shall it remain unless it be purely spiritual? Since, when matter ceases, it would then no longer be comprehensible. I tell you again, and of a truth no dogma is real that is not spiritual. If it be true, and yet appear to you to possess a material signification, know that you have not solved it. It is a mystery. Seek its interpretation. That which is true is for spirit alone. Number 4. Concerning revelation. Home, November 27, 1885. Received in sleep. All true and worthy illuminations are revelations, or revealings. Mark the meaning of this word. There can be no true or worthy illumination which destroys distances and exposes the details of things. Observe this landscape. Behold how its mountains and forests are suffused with a soft and delicate mist, which half conceals and half discloses their shapes and tints. See how this mist, like a tender veil, enwraps the distances and merges the reaches of the land with the clouds of heaven. How beautiful it is, how systematic and salutary its suitability, and how delicate its appeal to the ocular and cardiac senses. Furthermore, how fallacious would be that perception which should covet to rend away this adhering veil, to render distant objects proximate, and to reduce all things to the foreground wherein details alone should be apparent, and all outlines sharply defined. Distance and mist constitute the beauty of nature, and no poet would desire to behold her otherwise than through this exquisite and unassuming veil. As with exoteric, so it is with esoteric nature. The secrets of every human soul are sacred and known only to herself. The ego is inviolable, and its personality is its own prerogative forever. Therefore, mathematical rules and algebraic formulae cannot be imposed upon the study of human lives, nor can human personalities be treated as though they were mere ciphers or arithmetical quantities. The soul is too subtle, too instinct with life and volition for such treatment. One may dissect a corpse. One may analyze and classify chemical constituents. Yet, it is impossible to dissect or analyze any living entity. The moment it is treated thus, it escapes. Life is not subject to dissection. The opening of the shrine will always reveal it to be empty. The God has departed. A soul may know her own past and may see in her own light, but none can perceive it for her if she does not perceive it herself. Herein lies the beauty and sanctity of personality. The ego is self-centered and not diffused, for the tendency of all evolution is towards centralization and individualism. Furthermore, life is so various, and so beautifully diverse in its unity, that no rigid mathematical formulation can imprison its manifoldness. All is order, yet the elements of this order harmonize by means of their infinite diversities and gradations. The true mysteries remained always content with nature's harmony. They sought not to drag distances into foregrounds, nor to dissipate the mountain nebula, in whose bosom the sun is reflected. For these sacred mists are the media of light and the glorifiers of nature. Therefore, the doctrine of the mysteries is truly revelation, a veiling and a reveiling of that which it is impossible for the eye to behold without violating all the order and sanctities of nature. For distance and visual rays, causing the diversities of far and near, of perspective and mergent tints, of horizon and foreground, are part of the natural order and sequence, and the law expressed in their properties cannot be violated. For no law is ever broken. The hues and aspects of distance and mist may indeed vary and dissolve according to the quality and quantity of the light which falls upon them. However, they are perpetually present, and no human eye can annul or annihilate them. Even words, even pictures, are symbols and veils. Truth itself is unutterable, save by God to God. Number 5. Concerning the interpretation of the mystical scriptures. If, therefore, they are mystic books, they ought also to receive a mystic consideration. However, the fault of most writers lies in the fact that they do not distinguish between the books of Moses the prophet and those books which are of a historical nature. And this is the more surprising because not a few of such critics have rightly discerned the esoteric character, if not, indeed, the true interpretation of the story of Eden. Yet they have not applied to the remainder of the allegory the same method which they found to fit the beginning. Rather, as soon as they have concluded the earlier stanzas of the poem, they would have the rest of it be of another nature. It is, then, firmly established and accepted by most authors that the legend of Adam and Eve, and of the miraculous tree and the fruit which was the occasion of death, is, like the story of Eros and Psyche and so many others of all religions, a parable with a hidden, that is to say, a mystic meaning. Yet, so also is the legend which follows concerning the sons of these mystical parents, the story of Cain and Abel his brother, the story of the flood, of the ark, of the preservation of the clean and unclean beasts, of the rainbow, of the 12 sons of Jacob, and, not ceasing there, of the entire account concerning the flight out of Egypt. For it is not to be supposed that the 2 sacrifices offered to God by the sons of Adam were literal sacrifices, any more than it is to be supposed that the apple which caused the doom of mankind was a literal apple. Indeed, it ought to be known for the correct understanding of the mystical books that, in their esoteric sense, they deal not with material things, but with spiritual realities, and that, just as Adam is not a man, nor Eve a woman, nor the tree a plant in its true signification, so also the beasts named in the same books are not literal beasts, but rather the mystic intention of them is implied. When, therefore, it is written that Abel took of the firstlings of his flock to offer unto the Lord, it is signified that he offered that which a lamb implies, and which is the holiest and highest of spiritual gifts. Nor is Abel himself a literal person, but the type and spiritual presentation of the race of the prophets, of whom Moses was also a member, together with the patriarchs. Were the prophets, then, shedders of blood? God forbid. They dealt not with material things, but with spiritual significations. Their lambs without spot, their white doves, their goats, their rams, and other sacred creatures, are but signs and symbols of the various graces and gifts which a mystic people should offer to heaven. Without such sacrifices, there is no remission of sin. However, when the mystic sense was lost, carnage ensued, the prophets vanished from the land, and the priests assumed dominion over the people. Then, when the voice of the prophets arose again, they were constrained to speak plainly, and declared, in a tongue foreign to their method, that the sacrifices of God are not the flesh of bulls or the blood of goats, but holy vows and sacred thanksgivings, their mystical counterparts. As God is a spirit, so also are his sacrifices spiritual. What folly, what... Do you want access to this and all the complete audiobooks on the channel, plus the ebook version? Click the link in the description or scan the QR code in the left corner of the screen to access our library, where you can listen to your favorite esoteric books without ad interruptions, lock your screen, or use other apps while the narration plays, and even download the ebook version to follow along as you listen. Listen on your computer via web browser, or download the app from the Play Store. After subscribing, you will receive an email with your login details, password, and step-by-step instructions on how to access the books through the Hotmart app.